All right, we are going to write an equation for a proportion from a table. Our main goals is to solve these. I can determine a proportional relationships in tables, equations, and graphs. I can identify the constant of proportionality, unit rate-ish, of a proportional relationship in a table. Make sure that you have your class period, your first name, and it tells me identify the proportional relationship in the table below. So I kind of have to figure out how this is going to work. So I need to reduce this to 1 over something. I need to simplify that fraction. So I'm going to divide this by 8 and divide this by 8. And I'm going to get 1 over 5. Yep. So my answer should be 1 over 5 or 5. You probably could tell that it took a moment to think about this. So 1 over 5 is a fraction. But when we're talking about the proportional relationship, we're not talking unit rate, but you find out the unit rate. So the main difference is that the proportional relationship is this bottom number. It's that whole number. So the answer to this one will be 5. Not 1/5, because that's our unit. Now, here's where that comes from. What would the equation for the be for the table above? Make sure to type with no spaces y equals kx, where k is the constant of proportionality that you determined above. So y, I'm just going to use the y that's, I can't point at it, but the y that's right here, y equals k. And in this case, k is our constant of proportionality, which is 5 from the time above. 5x. Now let's prove it. Okay, so we're saying y equals 5x, where 5 is our constant of proportionality. If I take 8 and I multiply it by 5, so if I plug in my numbers, substitute in my numbers into y equals 5x, so if I put 8 in, where x is, does it equal the 40 like it says in the table? In case you can't read that. Well, 5 times 8 is 40, which equals 40. So yes, this is true. Now I'm going to skip this negative one because I don't want to, stress people out with negatives, but let's check it on the next one. So let's try that theory again. I'm substituting in y equals 5x. It tells me x is 5, so I'm going to put that in 5 times 5, where x is 5. See, x is 5. It tells me in the table. Does that equal 25, which is where it is right here? See? So, yeah, 5 times 5 is 25, which is 5. So that's why that works. Our tables create our constant of proportionality, which is similar to our unit rate, but it's written differently. Okay, let's go down here and try this one. So it's already got the 1, okay? So since it's already got the 1, that technically looks like 1/2, right? But it's not. So that is times 2. 1 times 2 is 2. So I am thinking that my constant of proportionality is times 2. And since all of those work there, that would be true. So I'm going to put 2. Okay? Whoops. I guess I can delete that. Now again, it needs us to write this, and we're just substituting in and filling in y equals, the k is this 2. The k is that constant of proportion, is the proportional relationship. It's that 2. It's the constant and proportional. It's the relationship between the two numbers, which is 2 times x. Okay. All right, so we have to identify this one, and this one is tougher, okay? I will tell you that. It is tougher because it doesn't have a 1, right? So in order to create that 1, I'm going to pick my two numbers. 3 over 1 equals, now my x has to be the 1. X has to be the 1 in my unit rates. So I'm going to put 1 on the top. What I don't know is my constant, that number. Okay? So now I'm going to cross multiply, change colors just for you guys. 1 times 1, that's easy, equals 3x. And this is where students might get a little confused, but we shouldn't, because to move this 3 over, I'm going to divide by 3 to both sides. Now I'm going to hear Miss Pagan, I don't know how to do 1 divided by 3. 1 divided by 3. Oh yeah, it's just 1/3. So this one's a little trickier because, it says I can't write it as a fraction. But let's test things. Okay, so my theory is, our hypothesis, if you will, is that our equation down here is going to be y equals 1/3, which means divided by 3, x. Okay, so let's see if it works. If I do y equals 1/3 x, okay, if I take 1/3 of 18, does it equal 6? Well, let's fill it in. 6, where I see the y. 1/3. Where I see the x, I'm going to put 18. See how I'm writing that in? Okay. I'm going to erase this so that I don't stress kids out. Erase, 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 erase. Okay. Does 6 equal 1/3 of 18? Well, I'm going to prove it. 1/3 just means divided by 3, right? So come over here. 18 divided by 3 is 6. So 6 does equal 6. It has a proportional relationship, and that relationship is, it is a 1/3 of x. So you will type 1/3. It's divided by 3 instead of times. Don't stress about it. Just make that one a fraction. And then just like we did on the ones above, we're going to type in y equals our constant, which is the proportional relationship, which is 1/3 of x. So I'm giving you time to make sure you got it. I'm going to push submit. Going to check to make sure I didn't screw anything up. Cross our fingers. Looks like I got everything right. So I'm proud of myself when I do that. And you guys should be proud of yourselves as well. And all done.